Hello everyone, it's Maureen. Welcome to my studio. And today I wanted to start by showing you a page that I made to inspire myself with pictures, illustrations that, they show my dream studio. So I imagine myself sitting in a room where my creativity can flow freely, and I took a few days to come up with these illustrations. They're from a while back and they are still very fitting. This indeed looks really much like my actual studio here where I'm sitting now. There's lots of books, there's a nice spacious desk and a view to the outside where there's a lot of nature, and it's just a cozy, not too big and not too small room, but with a lot of light coming from two parts, from two corners. But there's always also an image in my mind of a studio that is really, really lofty, airy, that has really high ceilings with these beautiful windows. And yeah, I think they will indeed be arched windows. And also here you can see there's loads and loads of light flowing in, but softly and gently. There's a lot of nature here. Here you can even see the mountains, which are one of my favorite things in nature. And there's a lot of space, there's room. And I imagine this is really my private space, my own little cozy nook. And here, this of course is my space as well. And I could thrive here on my own just as well. But this could also be a place where I could invite people to come with me and be together with me, do some writing, do some other creative stuff. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you today. And here is sort of a depiction of me meditating, dreaming, coming up with stories. This is in a library again. I like to surround myself with books. And here in the distance is a magical world where her mind floats whenever she comes up with a new story. So that was the introduction for today. And what will we do? Well, I want to invite you into my studio, my nice lofty studio, and play a game with me. And I like to call that game Word Chain Whimsy. And what will that do for us? Well, let me show you. We will start with, we will start with a blank page, of course, as always. And then after we play Word Chain Whimsy, we will end up with a list of beautiful words that we can use in a few different ways. And in my case, I came up with a whole story and with this beautiful digital art collage. And maybe, that's my wish, this will inspire you too. Okay, let's jump in. So, Word Chain Whimsy, what is that? Well, it is a game I like to play, and you start with one word and then you just go by association and you can come up with another word and another word and another word. I know that I played it a lot as a kid with my parents. Whenever we would be in a car and it was a long drive, we would each, come up with a word. We'd start with one, and we took turns in saying the next word. Let me show you what I did. I have this list. And how did I come to this list? Well, I started with the word honeybee because I wanted to play this game, and I set myself a scene. When I want to be creative with words, I need to be in a certain state of mind, if you will. I like to sit down here at my desk, but when I have the hustle and bustle of the day, of the world in my mind, it can be difficult to just jump in and be creative. So I sort of start with like a meditation. And what I did this time is that I pictured myself sitting in a cozy room, this room that I showed you before. And I pictured myself, you know, sitting there with the sunlight flowing in, and that the temperature is just nice and comfortable, that there's a small light breeze coming in from a window or door. And I also pictured what the sounds from outside in the garden would be, you know, the buzzing of an occasional bee and the birds that are singing. I also pictured having a place to sit with a nice pillow and, you know, just coming to rest and easing my mind. I also pictured myself having a mug of hot tea, fresh mint, and a drop of organic honey. And what I also pictured is a nice platter of freshly baked oatmeal and cranberry cookies, because those are my favorite cookies. And you see, and maybe you experience this even when you listen to me now, that slowly but surely my racing mind starts to settle. My breathing sort of slows down and deepens, and then I can feel that I relax, and there's sort of space, there's room. And then I have a mind that is more relaxed and that there is more room for the creativity to flow. Now, and since I wanted to play this game of Word Chain Whimsy, when I did this meditation, when I set this scene for myself, remember I told you I pictured hearing the occasional bee humming outside. And so that is why I came to the word honeybee as my first word. And I didn't really set myself any rules this time. I told myself just come up with words that are in the theme of like nature, magical things, and things that are full of wonder, which I most usually do. So that's not really a real rule for me. And so what I did is I came up with these words. The honeybee made me think of the flowers in the beautiful garden, and for some reason I thought of a dandelion, you know, the one that when it dries out has all these fluffy little seeds that you can blow in the wind. And the dandelion made me think of sunlight. Sunlight and rainbow made me think of a crystal, because you know, if you put a beautiful faceted crystal in front of a window and the sunlight comes in through the crystal, you get this rainbow of colors, which I absolutely love. And then my mind went to moonlight, and it went to sparkles, which made me think of fireflies, and that of course came to magic and fairies. And then there was kettle, and the kettle came because the fairy needs the kettle to brew some magical, lovely tea to sip on, just like I pictured myself drinking hot, fresh mint tea. But the kettle, of course, also can be used to create a good potion for some reason. And the potion could, of course, contain some honey coming from the honeybee, and the honey is collected from the nectar from flowers. And that to me was a beautiful list of words, and it was completely enough. So that is a word chain whimsy game, a chain of word with a little bit of whimsy, and I sincerely hope that you will give it a try sometimes. It is a thing that you can do all by yourself, of course, but it is also a very nice thing to do with a buddy, with a friend, maybe your writing buddy, maybe your best friend. You know, just sit down and each come up with a word, you know, taking turns. And you don't have to really be face to face, of course. You can do this in any way you would like. If you don't have somebody on hand to play the game with, then you can also play it with an AI like ChatGPT. I know this is not for everyone, but if you do like to do this, give it a try. I do regularly, and I have loads of fun doing this game with the AI, because it can really surprise you with the words that it will come up with. Now, after you have all these words, what can you do? Well, you can just call it a day and be very happy with these, in this case, 14 words that you have come up with, and that you have had like 5 or 10 minutes of fun coming up with these words. What is also a very nice thing to do is to challenge yourself to come up with a little story that contains all of these words. Yes, that would be a great challenge to have them all in there. And although that maybe sounds like a sort of difficult task, just give it a try. Start with the word that jumps out at you from the page and just write. Let it flow. And you can sort of cheat by using the word as a name or by doing something weird with it, but just try to squeeze them all in. I have done this on a few occasions and it always works, and you always end up with a really cute or funny or a little bit of a weird story. It will just help you to flex those creative writing muscles, and that is what these things are all about, aren't they? What I also do, and I will do this in a little bit, is I take a piece of sturdy paper, it can be pretty paper like this, and then I will glue this onto here, and then I will cut the words out, and then I have some more words for my inspiration box. You maybe have seen this in my previous videos. There are all kinds of words in here that help me come up with some creative ideas for writing stories. And I always am of the opinion that you can never have too little words, or you know, there's never enough inspiration, because you never know what word will just do it for you that day, right? So glue it onto a piece of sturdy paper, you know, print it out, glue it on, cut out the words, and then just draw a word and take it from there. That is the second one. And then let me check my list. Oh yeah, what you can also do is take one of these words or a few of these words and make an art journal or collage with it. I made this one here, which is a digital collage. Let me see. Yeah. I have used some elements from another digital creator, and I will mention her in the description box. It is from ArtHouseWhimsy. She makes amazing digitals. And I combined it with an illustration that I created. And here you can see that it is the dandelion and the fairy that inspired this collage creation, so that can also be something that flows from a word chain whimsy game. Alright, so yeah, that's really all that I can tell you about the word chain whimsy game. I have actually written a story with all of these words, with all the 14 words on this page, and yeah, I think it would be nice if I tell you this story. Would you like that? Yeah, I will do that after I drink a cup of tea, because I can feel that my throat really needs something to drink. So I will be back in just a second. The honeybee sat on a dandelion. It was tired after a long day of buzzing around the garden, going from one flower to the next, collecting all the nectar it could find. "Are you tired, little bee?" A sweet voice woke him up from his slumber. He looked up to see a fairy. Her fluttering wings, iridescent in the sunlight, cast sparkles like a rainbow all around her. "Have you been too busy, maybe?" The honeybee nodded, a little shy over the attention of this lovely fairy. She seemed to ponder something. Then she broke out in a big smile. "Can I have some of your sweet honey, please, little bumblebee?" He nodded again. The fairy clapped her hands. "Oh, thank you. Can you show me the way to your hive, then?" The bee took flight, with the fairy right behind it. His hive was not too far from where he had rested. It lay tucked away under a tree. The fairy admired the intricate structure and carefully scooped up some honey. "Thank you so much, sweet honeybee," she said warmly. "If you ever need help, just call me. I am Merry Moonlight," she added. The bee hummed with a deep rumble. "What will you do with the honey?" he asked. "Oh, I need to create a potion, you see," said Mary. "My auntie is ill. She has a really bad back pain, you see." She continued to explain how she would mix all the ingredients in her copper kettle. "It will have to sit in the moonlight for a night, with a dream crystal beside it, so the magic will work at its best," she said, with a serious expression on her face. The bee nodded again. "I hope it will work. Maybe the fireflies can help you too, to add some of their magical light." "Oh, this is an excellent idea, sweet bee." Mary made a little pirouette in mid-air. All the tiredness the bee had felt suddenly disappeared. He was so happy to have helped this lovely fairy. "I have to go now," she said. "I will come back to tell you all about what happened," she promised as she flew away. "I will be here," the bee buzzed, not sure if she could hear him. The rest of that afternoon he flew around the flowers with a lightness in his flight, as if he was still uplifted by the happy fairy and his joy from giving her his honey. He was sure the potion would do wonders. And you know what? Mary's auntie was cured of her back pain immediately as she applied the potion. She had never felt better before in her life, she added. And Mary? She came back to the hive to talk to the sweet bumblebee every afternoon, exchanging their adventures, sitting in the sun in that beautiful garden. That was my story. This is a story that I wrote. I just let my words flow from my pen or from my fingers on the computer this time, I must add. And I didn't edit it. I just went with what came to mind. And yeah, this is what I like to do. It's just a sweet little story. And of course, it could be improved. And of course, there are small things, bits and pieces that you might view as, yeah, but it's not really correct, or you have to do this or that. But that is the thing that I leave at the door when I enter my craft room, to just have a little fun with words and to be creative. Because my inner critic, if it kicks in, then this story will not come to life, or it will completely be, broken or ruined. So I don't think of creating a masterpiece. I just think of having fun and to think of a way to squeeze in all these words that I have here on this list. And it worked. I did it. So, yeah. I sincerely hope that this inspires you. I really hope that you will give it a try one day. Just come up with a list of words and then see what you want to do from it. I mean, you could make a little poem even. I don't know. You have enough creativity, I'm sure of that, to think of what you want to do with this creative exercise. And I will stop rambling now. I want to thank you very much for being with me, for hanging out with me, and for listening to my story. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.